Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidates interview, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Kathleen Fullen, and I would like to introduce Eli Tsarovsky, running for Alder in District 4. As we begin, please give an opening statement about the educational, vocational, and civic experience you have, which prepares you for this office, and why you are running for Alder.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for the great introduction, Kathleen. My name again is Eli Tsarovsky. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm running to be the next District 4 Alder on Madison Common Council on April 1st. So what really grounds me in this experience is as a community organizer in downtown Madison, for the past 5 years, I've worked tirelessly to build community, lower rent, improve safety in downtown Madison through my roles as a neighborhood president in the two neighborhood associations in downtown Madison. Through this, I've created multi-generational and multiracial coalitions to help determine how local development projects and city zoning can better build our community, to determine how local just energy, culture, people can come together and really make a downtown that we are excited about and proud of. In my education, I was a biochemistry major as an undergraduate at UW-Madison. I'm currently finishing up my last year, my last semester as a graduate student doing public policy and also public health. So I'm really excited to bring the lens of public health and science to City Council and bring that community organizing experience to bring people together and think about how we can make a city that works for us and cares for us with our CARES platform, which centers community, affordability, rights, environment, and safety in downtown Madison.
How would you evaluate the city's current efforts to address homelessness and increase the amount of affordable housing? Are there additional steps the city should take to address these issues?
Yeah, so I think the city's current efforts on affordable housing are good. I think that the city has done good with accessory dwelling units. It allows more for age in place and for families to live together in more flexible and affordable housing across the city. The one thing I think that the city should look into is zoning code to increase that variety of housing across the city. I think it would improve accessibility throughout the neighborhoods in Madison. I think that we really do need to look and take a really hard look at our homeless crisis at the moment. We have a growing unhoused population in the city of Madison, and I think that it's on us as community leaders in Madison to really work with the people who are providing services to these people, and also really just making sure that we're accepting these people as neighbors in the city. We can't stigmatize people for their situations. We have to really meet people as the human beings that they are. And I think part of that is really, really improving and just strengthening our housing first initiatives across the city to ensure people are housed and that we're really meeting the needs of the people in the lower 10% income levels and who are unhoused, because people deserve to be treated like people. And I think it's going to take a community effort, and it's going to take intentional policy and planning in the coming years, starting this year, to really make sure that we are meeting the needs of the people in Madison.
What actions or programs would you support to enhance public safety in Madison? And in particular, what is your position on the use of body cameras by Madison police officers, given the recent demonstration project?
Mhm. So one thing I think that is going to be a really important discussion on council in the upcoming budget cycle is where we want to spend our money. And what we saw this past fall is that we are in a really tough situation with our budget. I think that we do have to make the decision of, are we willing to spend a great sum of money on body cameras, or are we willing to spend that money in other places, like serving unhoused people in our community? And so I think what I would really hope for us to see is us really taking a harder look at that and saying, what are we leaving out? Because there's always trade-offs. And what I would prefer is really looking at how we're supporting our social services across the city, and really making sure that we are meeting people where they're at, to improve their safety. One thing we know is that in this negative degrees and stuff that we've experienced already, it's not safe to be outside. And so I think that what we really need to do is really invest in social services to make sure that we are supporting people to get off the streets and into housing. I think that's a big part of public safety. I think it also, we have to look at specifically, as our city is projected to grow, how are we addressing pedestrian safety and bike safety across the city? Because what we know is that as more people come to the city, there will be just a lot more issues to solve as a city together.
In the wake of the recent referendum to increase property taxes, what are your priorities for the city budget?
My priorities for the city budget, number one, is making sure that we are continuing our investments in affordable housing across the city. I think that's a really big need in our city right now. And having talked to neighbors, rent and the cost of housing is a big thing on people's minds. Another thing that I think is really important is our transportation system. I think it's going to be really important to make sure that we're maintaining a rapid transit across the city. The bus rapid transit system is something that I ride every single day, and I think is a really big benefit to our city. So making sure that we continue in that right direction. Um, and then additionally, I think that it's important that we continue to invest in our environments as well. With global climate change happening across the city, it's going to be important that we really protect our lakes, we're protecting our trees, and we're really making sure that we have a city for future generations to enjoy.
How should Madison balance the need for development with other concerns such as traffic, historic preservation, and conservation of natural areas?
Yeah, I think that's a really big issue for us as a city. One thing that we've seen is that people want to live in Madison and people want to work in Madison. And so development is part of our city's future. And so one thing that we need to definitely balance is evidence-based strategies to reduce crime across the city through building. So what that is thinking about how are we investing in mixed use buildings across the city so people can look out for their neighbors and have eyes on the street, and making sure that we are supporting just safe quality buildings for people to move into that live in the city already. I think another thing that's really important too is looking at the traffic, of course. District 4 specifically is on the isthmus, which means that we're constrained by two lakes. And so what will be important is to really think about how we can use the new BRT system to really ease traffic across the city, and also just provide it as a really important resource for people in the city as well. I think historic preservation is a very can be done in many different ways across the city. And one thing I remind people is that allowing development in other parts of the city that is not considered historic preservation eases pressure on historic districts in the city to build. So I think a part of that too is looking at why are areas considered historic and really thinking about those stories. So one thing I'm very proud of is having co-led uh, some neighborhood engagement and community engagement on preserving the history of the Green Bush area in the Regent Street and Park Street's corner right over there where Green Bush was, and really taking a new lens at a historic building that had been not safe to live in, and then having a redevelopment project there, but also incorporating a history hallway and the really rich history of Greenbush. So we can do that in many ways. And of course, the most important thing too is really thinking about our environment as well. Because as we grow as a city and face the pressures and the throes of global climate change, that's going to be a really important thing to really preserve in the city.
What are the most critical issues that you see facing the people in your district, and what would you propose to address these?
Yeah, I think one of the most critical issues right now happening in District 4 is housing. I think what I've heard at doors already is that people are feeling the pressures of the housing crisis in the city of Madison. And so I think that takes a multiple prong approach to how we are doing housing in downtown. Part of that is really looking at our missing middle in Madison, those 4 to 6 story buildings that allow for the easing of the pressures of housing across the city. It also looks like building more workforce housing for service workers and people working in jobs, specifically in the State Street area, and who are really providing essential services to our downtown. I think part of it too, as we want people to get to work not only by car, but however they may get there by foot or however they may fly themselves to work. We really need to improve our pedestrian environments. I think one thing that I experienced and that many people I've talked to at doors as well have been experiencing is just perusing a downtown with increased traffic and increased just pedestrian landscape. It's going to be important that we keep investing in that infrastructure so that people can feel safe when they're walking home, people can feel safe when they're getting to work, and people can feel safe when they're getting to their favorite restaurant in downtown Madison. And that serves every single person, whether you're age 3 or you're age 99, really just planning for that lifespan because we had people from every single age group that live in District 4.
What would you like to say to the viewing audience as we complete this interview?
Yeah, I would say thank you all for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. I'm really interested in meeting you and hearing what you have to say. So I hope that I can see you. Maybe I'll knock on your door, or maybe I'll see you on the sidewalk. Stop me, ask me what's up. Tell me what your vision is for Madison. I hope that the CARES platform that we're bringing to Madison is something that resonates with you and that it makes you feel connected to our community because we really, again, we're really want the community. We want to invest in public spaces. We want to lower rent through and lower housing costs through just a wide array of strategies. Working with our community, we want to protect your rights. This next 4 years is going to be a very difficult time for the city of Madison, but if we elect the right elected officials, we can really make sure that we are preserving the Madison that we want, making sure that the environment, that we're really planning for our future and our environmental um, concerns, and we're really protecting our lakes and our trees. And then safety, as our city is projected to grow, making sure that we're also having a comprehensive plan in terms of how we are really planning for pedestrian safety and the safety for people who are experiencing homelessness, and making sure that we're really looking out for our neighbors because our whole platform is making sure that we care for each other and we make it easier to care for Madison. So I hope that we can get your vote April 1st, or if you're early voting on your absentee ballot. But have a great rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this. And thank you again. Hope to see you out in Madison.
I want to thank Eli Tsarovsky for speaking with us and thank the viewing audience for taking the time to know your candidates. I'd like to remind everyone that the general election is Tuesday, April 1st. Every election is important. Please vote. On behalf of Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, I thank you for joining us.